All right, now it is time to handle the Dockerfile. The first thing, as a reminder, what is Dockerfile? Dockerfile is a text document, as you can see here, that contain all the commands a user could call on the command line to assemble an image. So to create a custom image with a custom installation, setup, whatever, you can write this Dockerfile, and Dockerfile has all the instruction that you need. All right. Now you can read the documentation if you are interested more. Okay, but actually I think this lecture will be enough because I will try as much as I can to explain the most important thing of Dockerfile here and a lot of instruction about it. All right, so far so good. Now the first thing, you need to create the Dockerfile. Okay, so let's remove this Dockerfile for now. Okay, so the first thing, you will use the touch command or Vim, Nano, any text editor. It's okay, but the syntax must be like this. The D is capital, Docker, and the file without space between Docker and file. So it is one phrase or one term or one word, let's say, Dockerfile, okay? And the D is capital, because if it is not like that, it will not be found. So I create it. Now I will use Docker. I will use Vim. Let's open it. Now inside it, it's empty. Yeah, obviously. We will start with the first instruction, which is the from instruction. Okay, so please don't get confused between Dockerfile instructions and the Docker commands. So for example, we have this Docker instruction which is called run. So for example, run. Now the run instruction here in the Dockerfile is not the same as the Docker run command. All right, because this is inside the Docker file after all. All right, so this is called instruction inside the Dockerfile. All right, the first thing, let's start with the from. So it must be capital like this. So from, so which means that I will copy or I will take from this image. Then I need to provide the name of the image. So for example, I will take from Ubuntu. But which one? By default, it will take the latest. But I think we already saw that by providing the column like this and provide the version you want. In my case, I will provide the version 18 or 20. It's up to you actually. Now let's follow this example for now. From Ubuntu, and the version of Ubuntu is 18, or the tag, as you can see. And you can see that I can provide more instructions, obviously. But for now, let's use this command, okay? Or this instruction, which is the from Ubuntu 18. And I need to build that and run it right away, okay? Now let's do that, actually, because this is just a symbol. Please keep with me. Save it. Now the command will be docker build dot, okay? But before you writing or issuing this command, so actually, because I am on the same path as the Dockerfile, so that's why I write the docker build dot immediately. But if you are not inside the Dockerfile path, you need to provide the -f option and then provide the path to it, okay? Yeah, without space, of course. So like this, and then don't forget the dot, okay? So far so good. All right. So either you go to the same path, then docker build dot, that's it, or you will provide the -f option. Sorry, I forgot to put a space here. As you can see, the -f option, and provide the absolute path to it, okay? It's up to you. Nothing is good or bad. It's up to you after all. All right. But for me, for now, I will, because I am on the same path as the Dockerfile, I will provide the docker build dot. As simple as that. Now let's press enter. Okay, you can see that it start building. And if the image Ubuntu is not found, it will start pulling it out. And if some dependency is not found, it will start pulling it out, and so on. Okay, until it is done, you will see something like that. Okay, or something similar like to this. Now, if I type docker images, you can see that. Please forget this one, which is the Ubuntu, the latest, with the latest tag. You can see that we have this repository, which is this image, as you can see, none, and the tag is none, okay? And this image ID, and if you can see, it is created 6 weeks ago. It's okay. This is just number that when this image is created. which is the Ubuntu that I got. It's not the image I created right away using the Dockerfile. No, actually it is the Ubuntu that I used the from instruction from it. It's okay. Okay, as you can see, the size is 63 megabyte. Okay, so far so good. So we created our own custom image. Okay, based on Ubuntu 18. All right, but you say, but this is actually ugly. What is this? No, none, no tag, no nothing at all. I need to be something elegant, right? Yeah, you are right. So for now, let's remove this image. Docker RMI. Actually, this is something we already saw. Docker remove image and the ID of the image. All right, and then let's open the Dockerfile again. You can see that we don't need to change anything because it is already have this image. Now Docker build dot. This is the previous command, but now we will provide the -t option. So if I type -t, which means I need to tag this. Okay, so -t and the name of the image, which is I will put test image or test, then I will provide the colon and I will tag it, for example, tag 1. Okay, now this is just arbitrary, don't worry about it. Okay, then space and then dot. Where is the place of the Dockerfile, which is here? All right, so as you can see, Docker build, we added this, the -t, which means tag, the test of the name of the image, which is test, and the tag, which is tag 1. Okay, if I type enter now, you can see it is finished. Let's clear the screen. Now Docker images, you can see now we have our own custom image based on Ubuntu 18, but this time its name is test and the tag is tag 1. So you can name it whatever you want. Okay, so far so good. All right, now I want to run a container from it. It's something we already saw, which is run-it, and we know why it is it, and then run it like that, and you can see that it is here, and you can see that everything is working fine. Okay, and if I want to quit from it without killing it, or I need to exit from it and whatever. Okay, so you can see that Docker BS, it has been killed. Docker BS-a, this is one. Now I want to remove it actually, and this is something we already saw. As you can see, I am trying to show you all the commands in a practice way. Actually, while we are learning the Dockerfile, we will use all the things we learned until now. Okay, and this is something good. And actually, if you can practice with me, this will be a better actually. Okay, because you will learn a much better. All right, now Docker remove, and let's remove the container ID. So Docker BS-a, yeah, everything has been removed. Docker images, to check again, yeah, we need to remove the Docker. So either Docker RMI, sorry about this, Docker RMI, the name, the ID of the image, or you can provide the name with the tag, which is test and tag 1. And I think we already saw that, okay, which is the name and the tag separated by the colon here. All right, so like this, and you can see Docker images, yeah, it is deleted successfully. All right, so far so good. All right, now let's clean the screen and open the Dockerfile again. Now let's continue. All right, now we saw how to create our custom image and how to name it whatever we want and tag it whatever we want, and we learn the syntax of the Dockerfile. But you may ask me, but we didn't do anything actually. Why should I create image and I name it something else and based on Ubuntu? Yeah, you are right actually, but this example was simple. For example, you want to create image and you need to install your custom dependencies, your custom files, add copy files, change something, do something, and you will do all of that. So yeah, it is based on Ubuntu 18. It's okay, but you do your own business. You do your own custom job. Okay. All right. Now let's start with the second instruction, and here's come the powerful of using the Dockerfile, which is the run command. Again, the instruction in capital letters. All right. So the run command, this will run and execute commands inside this container that based on Ubuntu 18. So if I type ls, it will run ls inside it. But of course, running ls will not do anything. So how to check if it is working really or not? We will use the touch command, and touch command to create a text file. So run touch, this will be run inside, and let's name it test.txt file. Okay, but we will need to provide it inside and we'll give it the absolute path. And you know that while running the container, the default user is the root. So I am creating this test file, test.txt file, inside the root directory, which is the slash. All right, so like this. Now let's save it and let's build it again. So let's build -t whatever I want, test, and the tag is latest, for example, or I can type here version 1, okay, and then dot. Okay, so let's run that and see what will happen. All right, now let's check the Docker images as well. All right, it has been created. Now let's take this and let's Docker run -it and let's put it like this. Yeah, we go inside it. Now let's type the ls command. Yeah, you can see that the test.txt file has been created successfully. And actually, this is not by the system. Actually, this is not something was previously on the system or on the container. This is something we created using the run. Okay. Now, actually, I'm just teaching you the instruction and what they are used for. But it depends on you, depends on your application, depends on your company, organization, whatever. Okay. You are the engineer to create whatever you want, or the developer, or the whatever. Okay. But I'm teaching you the technology and the instructions for the Dockerfile. Okay, now let's quit from it for now. Let's go, before that, yeah, let's go to the Dockerfile. Now we used the run command. Now we have other instructions, and one of these instructions is the cmd and the entry point. Okay, now actually they are very popular. And what is the difference between cmd, entry point, and the run? All of them are running command. But what is the difference? Okay, we will handle that actually in a practical way, right away, in a moment. Don't worry. So the first thing, let's put the entry point. Okay, and we have the cmd. All right, let's have a brief actually. What is the difference between the three of them? The first thing, the run, that we already saw, it is just responsible to run commands. Okay, so I will run command while creating and building this container, which is touch test.txt in our case. But the cmd here is running command. Yeah, I know that. But this time, if the user doesn't provide any command while he is running the container using the docker run -it, the name or the ID of the image, this will be run by default. But if the user provide any command, this will not be executed. Okay, but the entry point, on the other hand, no, it will start from there. So which means that I will run this command, which is the one I will provide here, no matter what. Okay, so, and any command you provide, it will be appended to this command. Okay, all right, now you may get confused, but don't worry, we will handle that right away. Now, to see the difference between entry point and the cmd in a real life or in a practice, the first thing, we will use image, but this time image that doesn't issue any shell. Okay, and in our example, something we already saw, which is the Nginx image. Okay, so you saw that Nginx image, when we run the container, it didn't issue any shell, so it will just show the logs of the access or the error, whatever. Okay, we already saw that. So let's start with the entry point. Okay, so the entry point, like this, I need to provide the bin bash. And again, the entry point will be run no matter what, even you provide argument or you didn't provide any argument while running the container from this image. Right? Right. But the cmd, it is something, will be the default behavior. So if you didn't provide any argument, it will be run. But if you provide it, or if you provide any argument, no, it will not be running or executing. Okay, so let's start with the first thing, which is the entry point. Okay, so from Nginx bin bash. All right, now let's build it. -t test the version 2 dot. Okay, like this. Now Docker images, You can see that, yeah, we have it here. All right. So docker run -it, and let's put it. Now, you remember when we run our nginx image or our nginx container using the nginx image, you saw that no terminal, no bash, nothing, just a log, a black screen, and the log will be printed on it when we access it, error, whatever, right? You remember that, right? So, but this time, if I type enter like this, you can see that this time we have a bash shell. As you can see, echo shell, you can see the shell. By the way, this is an environment variable that to define which shell you are using. And as you can see, the bin bash, which is, we are using the bin bash, and this is something we didn't saw when we run the nginx as is, right? You remember that, okay? So if I type Control PQ, so I quit from it without killing it, and Docker BS, you can see now the command, it's not nginx something blah 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 as previously. No, it is the bin sh-c and the bin bash, which is the command we provided the entry point. Okay, so now let's kill it. Okay, like this. Take the image, container ID, I mean, and Docker BS to make sure it is killed. Yeah, it has been killed. Docker images again. Oh yeah, we got it there. But anyway, now let's run it again. But this time I will run it with issuing command, and this command will be bin bash as well. So if I provide the bin bash like this, it will be a bin bash inside the bin bash that we created. So you can see that the command by default is the bin sh-c, and the entry point, this was the entry point, the bin bash. So this time it will be bin sh-c, bin bash, and bin bash. Now let's see. Yeah, you can see that it is running. Control PQ, Docker BS, and you can see that not just bin bash. Now we have something else. And how to check the command exactly? We will use the inspect command. So docker inspect --help to see more about it. As you can see, return a low level information on a Docker object. So docker inspect, and let's provide the ID of the container, and which is this one. And you can see we have a lot of commands, a lot of information, a lot of things actually. And this time, if you can see here, the path is bin sh, and the argument is this one, which is the entry point, and this one, which is the one I provided. Okay. All right. Now let's see the CMD in the other hand. Okay. So let's comment that and put the CMD, but this time we'll put bin bash. Okay. You saw that what is entry point, what is do actually, that it is any command you provide, it will be append to this command. But the CMD here, you provide argument, it will become optional. Okay, so as it is just like as the default behavior. If nothing provided, it will be like this. Okay, so let's save and let's build this image -t test version 3 dot docker images docker run -it, and let's provide the ID of the image. And this time I will try two things. The first thing, I will try without putting any argument, and as expected, is if you can see that we have, and if I type echo the shell, yeah, it is bin bash shell, as you can see, as expected. So let's kill it for now. But this time, if I run it with the bin sh this time, okay? So not the bash, the born again shell, no, the shell, the normal shell, or the shell, okay? The bin sh, okay? You can see that it has been overwritten over the CMD bin bash. Or you can see if I type echo shell, nothing actually. Because why? Why is that? Because I am using the sh, okay? You saw what is the difference between the entry point and the CMD. Briefly, the entry point, it is something mandatory, and any command you provide, or any argument I mean you provide, it will be appending to this or appended to this. But the CMD is the default behavior. If nothing has been provided, I will execute this, the bin bash. But if you provide anything, it will be overwritten. So we saw that I provide the bin sh and it has been overwritten over the bin bash. Okay, so the command became bin sh, not bin bash. Okay, but in the entry point, when we provide an argument, the argument appended to this bin bash thing. So when I provide the bin bash, you saw that the bin bash appended to the bin bash of the entry point. Okay,